All right, I think we can get started now. Hello,
Hello.
what's up? How goes it? Hello, hello. We're gonna
Oh shit,
make
I
sure that
muted.
we're everything looks good on my end. You all set, bud? I hear you good.
Yeah, dude. We out you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I'm turning your volume up a tiny bit more, but
All right,
I'm just
cool.
being like a little loser about it. Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fresh Oil.
Uh,
I'm sorry, I was just drinking some
in
soda. I
our
was burping right there.
in our promise to bring you more content during this quarantine time, we have completely failed.
Like
And
everyone trying to work
yeah,
out.
it's been what 3 weeks since we've done a podcast or something.
Yeah, totally. Totally did
Many
took
many
a rain date last week for lame reasons, so get back
and
into it and kick some
failed to
ass.
deliver on the promised bonus content as well. So
Yeah. I
we
mean
promised hard and failed. So you're welcome, everybody.
I don't know about the rest of everyone, but I'm personally thinking my Trump bucks are getting me a sim rig, so maybe I'll have some sim stuff. Who knows? You know, maybe we could do some crap like that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Uh, Set your expectations low, folks.
Definitely, because we never cease to unimpress. But anyway, we are back. It has been about
We
three
are
weeks.
here.
There is some actual car news at this point. Obviously, the world is a little slow right now. I'm sure all of you know that. A lot of, and I guess just to touch on car news and world news in general, for as much as we probably will touch on it, is that it's great that there are so many manufacturers are helping produce, ventilators and other things like that during these
Shout
times.
out
So
to those
shout out
manufacturers.
to everyone who's doing that. Shout out to everyone who's helping, fold what I forget what it is, folding like DNA sequences or something.
Shout out to everybody that's still at work, yo. We see you.
Everyone working, yeah. Shout out to the healthcare workers, everyone. So
Grocery store workers.
you're all our boys tonight. So to
Respect.
that, um, I will take a sip of Coca Cola to that.
Smoke to that, dude.
All right, you'll smoke. I'll take a sip of Coke. I'm cruising right now. We're doing great. Colin, how are you doing, my boy? It's been 3 weeks since
Uh,
we've. Actually, no. Didn't we chat? Didn't we have a voice chat session?
yeah, we played some Civ.
Yeah, we played some Civ. We played a little bit of Civ.
Uh, yeah, man. I mean, time has truly lost all meaning at this point. I think it's Thursday.
It is
Uh,
Thursday. I totally lost my mind too.
I was moderately drunk every day for like 2 weeks. So yeah, life was a blur, and now it's like slightly less. But
I,
yeah, like I said, things are just going.
I think that's
Uh,
everyone right now. Like we're all kind of like getting used to it and just going. Dude, Martin
how you doing,
Salter,
bud?
S13, bro. Look at you got an S chassis,
Hey,
buddy.
we got S chassis boys in the chat. S
Well,
chassis drivers rise up.
yo, Colin, if you send me some pictures, I'll show them on screen or something. Uh,
Uh,
send them
yeah.
on send
Anyway,
them on Discord while you're talking.
what am I sending you pictures of? S chassis.
We're gonna go. We're gonna roll into. Oh, hey, how are you doing? And then, oh,
Oh,
we're
right,
gonna
right. Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me about your car you've been
yeah.
working on.
Okay, man. Let me work my
Go
way
ahead,
into it.
man. Take your
I was
time.
getting a rambly. I was getting
Take your
rambly.
time, man.
So yeah. The one good thing about being bored is that I've been able to work on my car a lot. I've been drop my microphone.
I
I've
heard
been
that.
I went and bought uh, I went and bought a single cam KA because I was tired of trying to fix the oil pan gasket on my CA. and I've been flying through it. I've been flying through the swap. If you check my Instagram, you might be able to see some of it. I don't know. I haven't even really been posting stuff on the internet. I've just been drinking beer and working on my car mostly. But the engine is currently in the car. The transmission's mounted up. I installed a sweet pair of headers yesterday. I put new seals on my fuel injectors because they were allegedly leaking. And I was supposed to go get a drive shaft today, but dude's never hit me back up. So I am waiting to get that. But once I get that, I should be able to finish the fab work by getting my transmission cross member built. And then I just have to do some wiring, which, you know, I'm not insanely good at, but I think I should be able to get it done. It's a pretty well documented swap. So yeah, I've converted my cool turbocharged car into a truck basically.
I mean, you went with the big block power, really.
Yes, it is the big block.
And as everyone knows, the bigger the block, the better, right?
I mean, there truly is no replacement for displacement.
Like, imagine if you just like, you know, you had an S chassis and you decided that you just wanted to stop at 2 liters and that was enough for you.
I mean, truly, imagine thinking that you need more than one cam in your engine.
Right? I mean, the Mustang's single cam, single jingle. I mean, it's 4 valves per cylinder.
Have 2. Yeah, mine's 3 valves per cylinder. It is a 12 valve.
Is it really? That's kind of cool.
I have a big block 12 valve in my S chassis now.
This is gonna open weird, ain't it? All right. Nah, it did. All right, I'm trying to get your pictures into the fun zone.
Oh yeah, So Jake's pulling up some pictures right now
Here.
of the CA coming out, the KA in the back of my roommate's truck, and then the KA sitting inside of it now.
And you've done more work since then. This is all showing up, right?
I pulled the engine I think a week ago today. And
So this
I'm
is
a
you
little bit
pulling
further
the
along in
CA.
it now.
So what was the big issue with it? I know you've just been fed up with it, like it's been a problem after a problem.
Yeah, well,
so like I get it.
It's just like always broken, and then like so I was trying to do the oil pan gasket without pulling the engine out, and then it was like a huge pain in the ass. I had to like almost completely pull the engine out, and then I had the little like oil pan alignment tools. They're like the little plastic studs you thread in there, and one of them fucking broke off. And I just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm pulling my engine out and I'm putting a KA in, and it's been super fucking fun. Like, I haven't had this much fun working on a car in a long time, honestly. So everybody, if you're feeling bummed, like I was feeling bummed about life, just go put
Just
a
swap
single
your
cam KA
engine.
in your car.
Yeah.
Like that is my advice to you to entertain yourself during quarantine.
Just go put a truck motor in your sports car. That's the key, right?
Buy a KA on Facebook Marketplace for $500 and put that shit in.
You all have Trump bucks now to spend. Well, I guess a number of people have Trump bucks now to spend. Scuba Steve, hello.
I presume everybody listening to this podcast is getting Trump bucks. Just going out on a limb there. But
I mean, so I think
how are you doing, bro? I heard. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll jump to mine, but I do want to say I think for you, and it's something that always bugs me, and we talked about this the other day, that working on cars is like troubleshooting bullshit is the most annoying part of working on a car. And you went from the CA where when it worked you were happy with it, but it was so much troubleshooting bullshit that you were often not happy with it that you said fuck it, and fixing and dealing with its bullshit was less satisfying, even though it was probably less satisfying than completely swapping the engine and putting in something that like you're interested in and know will work and be reliable and whatever for you.
I mean, allegedly, dude. I've never seen this motor run. Like, to be fair, it is Schrodinger's KA.
Dude, it's gonna be
I-
fine. Have you even looked inside it?
I looked at the cams.
You popped the valve cover, you haven't popped the head
Yeah,
though.
but like, you could tell he had some RTV on the oil pan gasket, and I didn't want to like have to tear it up and put a new one on. So it's like, like
So
the dude seemed to have been pretty honest. Like he was like, yeah, I just replaced the water pump, but it needs like fuel injector seals, and he like clearly just replaced the oil pan gasket too. Like it's got fresh RTV around it. It's like, dude's been pretty honest about everything, so I don't see why it wouldn't run. I mean, maybe it doesn't, dude. Maybe I'm too trusting of people selling $400 KAs.
well, push comes to shove, you have liquid engine rebuild, Seafoam, not sponsored by the way. Seafoam, please sponsor
Not
us.
sponsored by Seafoam. Please
Seafoam
sponsor
works.
Seafoam.
If you don't believe in Seafoam, I don't believe in you. But anyway, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Seafoam.
I'm glad that you have like a direction now, and I think that's what's been so much more satisfying for you is you have like a definitive direction. It's not like fix this shit. It's put in this motor and get this going and get it running and go have fun on the weekends and whatever, and hopefully salvage the summer.
Yeah, man. Summer seat time 2020.
Totally, dude.
So, there's my project car update. I know you've been making some moves on your project car.
Yeah, so I don't
What's
know
up?
if I have any pictures that are like readily available. Let me we'll jump to that later. Let me get some pictures. I'll like just send some in through Discord, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having to like hold my microphone and I have a joint. And
Dude, no, it's fine. Look it, we're all laid back. We're all in quarantine, like
it's relaxed.
it's super relaxing. It's just laid back. Of course it's not going to do it. All right, so I've been working on my Jetta, which I finally got running, which was the biggest part. Let me get a couple pictures in here. Dude, I can't even send those two pictures on Discord. I need to just flex and get Discord Nitro, I guess. Because it's like every time I try to send a picture, it's like, oh, it's too big. What's up, kitty?
Shout out.
Shout out, guys. So, I got the Jetta running here. I then started to do the radiator swap.
Walk us through the get it running, dude. Like,
All right. So, to get it running,
I need some details.
so I got to explain the get it running part. So, I had it running about a year ago, and I actually do have video of that. So, I have evidence and date stamps,
That's a hard year time to hear.
right?
Like, I know that feeling.
Right?
man.
It hurts. So,
I had it running a year ago.
so it ran, and then it ran, but like the valve cover gasket had leaked for like 10 years or something on the car. So there's oil everywhere. It was just smoking up a storm because it was like all over the exhaust everywhere. It was like a fire hazard. I'm like, okay, turn it off. I gotta like wash this shit out. And so washing everything out, then it wouldn't start. I lost spark. So I'm like, okay, well, I have a distributor, the ignition coil, and the ignition control. Like, that's kind of, like, those are, like, the three things. They don't cost that much money. Like, I just, like, threw parts at it. I replaced all of them. And never could really figure it out. So the real reason was that I did fix it in throwing parts at it. My guess is, well, one of those three failed. I actually don't think it was the ignition control module because I might have actually put the original one back in because I'm like an original butthurt. But so it was I think it was either the ignition coil or the distributor from power washing. They just went, like that was it. They were done. And in the process of replacing everything, I changed the distributor to a newer style one. The chassis on the Jetta has the older style hall sensor plug. And I thought like I could just put it in and it would just work, and it just wouldn't. And that was not enough. So I literally needed the newer style plug. And so I had to get my buddy to find me one in his Horde, because like you can't buy that part. You can't find that part on the internet, because like everything from like Mark II on is like the newer one, and like all the older one they like haven't supported for like decades already. So you can't find that. So it was like so annoying. And wiring that in, putting some gas in it, and a new battery in it, and she just started. The idle's a little screwy because I need to like time it properly and do some other stuff, like some tuning, things like that. I do. I will admit that I do. But it does start, it does idle, it does move. It doesn't have coolant in it because the radiator was leaking. Let me get the picture of how much coolant I had. That was one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful picture.
So I never ran it for very long because the radiator was like leaking. It was like leaking out of like the top, like in the plastic. It was fucked, you know. It was just old. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna replace it. Order the replacement. Cool. I'm gonna drain all the fucking coolant of the old one to remove it. And this is how much came out. And this was it. Not very clean. It is green. It is green. Looks like coffee.
A little oily, dog.
So to be fair, it was a dirty like catch thing that was already a little oily. So
okay.
You know, you do have that part, but I don't disagree that it looks bad. And it's very little. No, I already have it like put away like as waste shit.
Like in all reality, dude, like that fuck, dude, I totally lost my train of thought.
Dude, it's fine. So, regardless,
if it had a leaky radiator, it probably just leaked while it was sitting, you know? And it's brown because there was hose water in it. Let's be real.
it wasn't the super brownest, but yeah, you know, I'm probably going to do a little bit more, but I ran the hose like through the water pump while it was running, and like out through the top radiator hose through the thermostat, and you know, let it kind of flush through there. I probably should do, you know, some other cooling lines. I have to screw around a little bit because of installing the new radiator, which is a newer style from the older style. Like, this car has just been me dealing with like late model and early model parts, and for whatever reason, the last year Jetta Mark I first generation Jetta, the last year one, has like all of these early parts for no reason. So it's just been annoying. Scuba Steve, no, those aren't bottle caps. It had bottle caps. I took them off because I put on the
what are your specs, bro? What's the wheel specs?
Oh god. I have a picture somewhere where it says what it is, but it's they're OZ Racing, like, you know, BBS sort of replica wheels. From what I know, they're like semi-rare 80s wheels. The guy who sold them to me could have totally lied to me, so like totally tell me I'm wrong.
I believe OZ Racing is a legit like Italian manufacturer.
No, they're legitimate wheels. Like I believe they're legitimate wheels. I just don't know if I believe they're semi-rare 80s like kind of vintage wheels. I don't know if I buy them.
Like Yankee 92s.
So anyone who knows more about wheels maybe could help me there. I don't really care.
Can you send me if you send me some pictures of like the stamps on them, like?
Yeah, I'll get you that the next time. They look a bit like the cursed clutch wheel that Rudnick has on his Greed Miata when it was stolen. Oh, don't say that to me. eBay special? Looks nice. I thought
Probably.
They might be 92s. I don't know what they are. They're OZ Racing. And
What's the tire specs though?
the
That's
tire
an
specs are
important
like
question.
165, like 40 R15 or something, like something so dumb.
And those are what, 8 inches wide?
7.5, I think.
Yo, dude, what you got 165s on
Wait,
seven and
no,
a half?
no, 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 no. I don't know what it is.
Damn,
I don't know.
dude.
I don't remember
That's
what
some
it is.
stretch. No,
There,
I mean, dude, I
I think
believe it.
it's
Like,
7 or 7.5. I think.
damn, dude.
I'll
that's
get the
pretty
specs.
hard.
I don't want to like try to brag. I literally just bought them off a guy because he had them on a Rabbit pickup. So like I know they were gonna fit. So it didn't really fucking matter what the specs were to me. Like I had a picture of them on another car that is the same fucking car. Like it's gonna fit. So yeah, I
So,
totally need coilovers now.
I
Like
was
the
gonna
mesh
say,
look.
when are you gonna cut your springs?
I would, but I actually
What?
do want to like be able to lift it up to like use it in the winter. So
Yeah, but you're getting coilovers.
yeah, that's my
So,
point. No, okay, so
you
cutting the coils
slam
now.
it in this,
Uh,
you cut the springs until you get the coils because there's no excuse to not be fucking slammed.
well, I need to have it be movable in the yard right now, so I'm gonna stop that. Cutting springs is fucking dumb. Well,
Wrong.
it's pretty dumb as a permanent solution. It's pretty dumb as a permanent
Oh
solution.
yeah, no,
It screws
it's
up
what
the
you do
spring rate if you
before-
don't know that. I don't think a lot of
Well,
people know that.
It changes the spring rate.
Yeah, well,
But if you want stiffer springs, then it's not bad.
it doesn't just.
And there's actual mathematic formulas that you can use to
All right, let's be real
figure
here.
out how much of your spring to cut to get the desired spring rate.
Who is doing that math?
Yo, Grassroots Motorsports did that shit in, like 2001.
No, those guys are, but like the guys cutting springs on their street Jetta aren't.
You're an engineer. You're a nerd, dude. Go fucking find.
I don't want to fucking do that. I'm an engineer. I also know that a company had an engineer create coilovers that work. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't want to fucking do the math. I don't want to do math on my car.
Well,
I just
then
want to.
pull
I
out
just
your
want to.
angle grinder and cut 3 coils off.
Oh my god. Regardless, she moves. Doesn't have a Well, no, she does have a new radiator now, but the newer one you need to have like an expansion tank, and the older one has a built-in expansion tank and dumb shit like that. Air ride, no. What?
Just bought a
Dude, bags are for groceries. Get out of here.
Dude, see, we need that soundboard.
We do need a soundboard. That would have been great. But yeah, no, I'm just I'm kind of going at my pace, getting her going. Change the oil with some nice liquid moly high mileage shit. It looked like fucking graphite water, whatever that shit was. It didn't look like any oil I've used before.
Bro, why did you not just put Rotella in it? Are you dumb?
Why did I not put Rotella in it? Is Rotella made in Germany?
No, everyone knows Rotella is the best oil for old engines because it has lots of.
Yeah, but like FCP Euro had like an oil change like kit. It was like it's like 37 bucks.
Oil on the internet.
Yeah, I did. Dude, it was like 37 bucks. Get at me. How much was your oil
Bought
change?
Transmission oil on the internet.
I also bought transmission oil. I have everything. I just haven't done it all. I
What
bought brake
transmission
fluid.
oil did
I
you
got
get?
well, all right. The big thing is I didn't want to go to a store.
True.
And I might have to because I think I do need a length of hose that I need to measure. But
Yeah, dude, you just gotta go to the store for that shit.
that sucks, and I'll probably have to do that.
Or-
But I've been trying to avoid it.
Point. Dude, figure out the diameters of the hose you have and order rolls of it, and then it's always on hand because as you drive this, hoses are gonna start leaking. That's what happened with
Yeah,
my
I
Datsun.
should just get
That's
rolls.
what happened with my S12. Like honestly,
Street
if
Hunter
you
kit.
can like figure figure it out and then buy like 12 feet of each length that you're gonna need.
So the only I should do that. You're right. What I should get for the Jetta is I should get a tow hitch and coils, and that's it.
Roof rack.
I have a roof rack. I just need to like get the key for it and other parts. I think I'm just gonna end up buying a new roof rack.
I mean, dude, you don't even need a key to put it on there and look cool, though.
I mean, if I want to take like some sitting still photos, like totally for sure. But if I could just do that, but I'm not like that, man. So, working on the Mustang. How's she running? Well, she's in a lot of pieces. She's not right now. Obviously it's the off season, so we like
full tear down.
Not full, but like we like to touch certain parts of it, and we've been doing incremental updates. So this off season we've been doing custom front suspension. So we're gonna have independent coilover suspension on all four corners. BC Racing, baby.
BC Racing, sponsor us.
Sponsor me, BC Racing. You can put your sticker on our shitty Lemons car. And I'll put one on the Jetta, too. If you send me BCs, that is, because I'm going to buy way cheaper coils. I'm buying like three. I'm buying. Dude, they're called. I don't know if it's like JOM or JOM. It's all capital letters. I'm guessing it's JOM. It's some Euro company. I don't know where they're from, but they're TÜV certified, so I'm sure they're great.
Wait, they're from Germany?
They're from Europe somewhere. I don't know where they're from.
Dude,
someone look it up.
Yom.
BC Raceland.
Bro, honestly, I wish I had some Racelands. I have the worst fucking
BCs
on earth.
So people hate BCs because they're like, they're like the cheapest real coilover, let's be honest. But they are real coilovers, okay? And we're racing budget shit cans, so that's what we get. If you wanna talk it up that we don't have, what was that, bud?
Said BCs are way fucking nicer than what I have. I have the non-adjustable max peating rods.
Yeah, I want to know like.
I got the fucking Tokiko Illuminas in the rear. You already know what's up, boys. Shout out to Tokiko.
Scuba Steve right there. Avoid max speeding rods like they had the
honestly,
COVID.
I'm gonna be 100%. My max peating rods are terrible.
Budget.
I would not buy them again.
BCs
However,
are budget. They're like $500.
Absolutely exceeded the fuck out of my expectations. Like, I expected these things to be completely toasted within 6 months of buying them, and I've had them for like fucking 3 years now. And granted, my car's been on jack stands for probably half of that, but I've gone like drifting and shit. I've daily driven it. I've driven it fucking across the country the short way, and they're still hanging in there. But yeah, like, I'm trying to get something else soon.
I would think that for a lot of people, BCs would be an upgrade for the car they drive the most, or like beat on the most and drive spiritedly the most. Because like a lot of people, like if you have a car and you know that it's worth more than putting BC coilovers on it or whatever, and it's like a track toy, how often do you take it out? Because like that's just, it costs you so much, and you're going to be afraid to wreck it and stuff like that, because you probably have way more money into it. But like if you had BCs on your S12, like as a relatively budget drift car, like
Dude,
getting BCs
way better than what
like
I have.
Getting BCs it'd probably be about $1,000 for what you need, because they'd probably have to make custom ones for you.
I really only need the fronts, dude. I really only need S13 front.
So they'll make you like custom coilovers for like pretty much anything. My buddy.
My rear setup's pretty dialed though. Like the thing is, I don't need to raise my rear up at all. Like my rear's at the perfect height. I maybe would like to get a nicer spring. Like maybe get a set of Swifts for the rear, And
I feel like you'd want a
maybe,
shock upgrade though.
dude, I already got Tokiko Illumina's,
Oh,
bro.
okay.
Best shock in the game. Can't
Yeah.
fuck with it.
Well,
But no, honestly, like a Coney would probably be pretty good. A Coney yellow would probably be better than a BC.
so BC also does half coilover kits, so you probably could just get front coils from them, and it'd be
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure, dude. I'm sure.
and it'd be like $500-600, and they'd be awesome for it'd be better than anything you've ever had in the car. But it's like,
Yeah, dude. It's
I get it when people shit on them.
like
I get
mean,
it.
Currently, I don't have a source of income, so that's not happening. But yeah,
Oh,
no,
totally.
I honestly would get some BCs, maybe.
Nah, it's just that I just everyone shits on the BCs, but like, come on, guys, they're pretty fine.
I know some people with some pretty fast cars on Megans.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a bunch of fucking like Formula Drift guys that are sponsored by BCs, and they have BCs in the FD car.
BC also makes BC does make very, very, very nice coilovers. Like the fucking whatever the entry level ones are, the BRs are maybe a little overpriced and maybe more comparable to like a Megan set that's a little bit cheaper. That's just like the general consensus of what I've
hockey
seen.
pucks.
But definitely like their higher level shit, I think people use it in Formula Drift, so it can't be fucking bad. Like Formula Drift, they build some real fucking race cars, you know.
Considering BC for salt roads, I mean, no.
Bro, we really are caping for BC hard right now.
For salt roads, all right, I'm gonna be personal with you guys there. I think if it's a daily, you probably should just get lowering springs and like decent
that's
shocks.
what I was gonna try and come around to is don't sleep on the shocks and lowering springs setup.
Because it's just gonna be simpler and it'll just always work, and you won't have like dumb adjusters rust and other dumb shit, and you can find something that's suited for your car. Someone's already done the time and engineering and work doing it. I'd probably do that if it was a daily.
If you buy Coney yellows, like they're valved for a daily that's like driven spiritedly, or like someone who like autocrosses their car. That's like already tuned pretty well out the box.
I feel like I try to be a little too practical with dailies though sometimes. Maybe I should break out of that mold.
Yeah, it is pretty fun to drive a wild daily that's like slammed on its nuts and shit. Like dailying the S12 is pretty fun.
But there's like a difference, I think, between like dailying something that's wild and like modifying your daily in a way that just makes it a way bigger pain to service.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like you can have like a super wild daily that's stupidly reliable. Like if you just dailied, a Miata and your drive to work was tight, twisty mountain roads, like you'd have a blast every day to work, and you have 90 horsepower, or just go lowering springs. Yeah.
About like I mean, dailying like a highly modified car can be.
No, totally.
But also, it gets old quick. It's fun to do occasionally. Like when I had the S12 running for a little bit, I like drove it to work a couple times. That was super fun. But then I got back in the Acura and drove that, and I was like, yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, like there's definitely something cool, like when I hop into the Mustang and like get all strapped in and flip on the switches and whatever and turn it on. Like that's just a cool feeling in general. Even if you're not getting all strapped in, you're just like testing some shit out because you're working on stuff. Just turning it on and just like sitting in there, hearing it, smelling it, like that. In a project car, like something like that, it definitely feels different. Feels really cool for sure. But then you definitely get sick of it. And I definitely noticed that like on a like at the end of a race weekend when I'm like driving home and I like hop in the GTI, which I basically haven't driven all weekend, and it's just like infinitely comfier and nicer, and it's probably even faster and shit like that. But it's like such a different experience, like just changing from that. But, you know, I'm a little bitch and I like that cushy daily life. So,
Yeah, dude. I mean,
if you want coils for a daily, I'd probably get something that you wouldn't be too upset about replacing. So, yeah, maybe BCs wouldn't be bad. For me, I'd just be worried about Racelands. It's going to depend on your car, too. I mean, I'd see what the community says.
Yeah.
There's a lot of communities where it's just like, yeah, you know, you can just get some Bilstein shocks and these lowering springs and you're mint and you're going to look sick and they're going to be awesome and they're going to be reliable and serviceable. Other communities are going to just tell you to, like, you know, cut the springs in half and weld the shock shut or some shit like that. So,
yeah.
All right, guys, I guess we can jump to topics. Finally.
Yeah,
We've had a fun little offshoot there, so we're gonna
fun little wrenching section for the first time, possibly ever. We've had significantly good car updates.
Dude, we're gonna have like all this progress, and then the next podcast we're gonna be like,
Next
"Yep,
time
haven't
we
done
got
anything to
shit
get shit done."
Don't jinx it.
Well, maybe now that I've already said that, we'll subvert expectations and succeed.
I think that's a real piece of wood. Yeah, that sounds like real wood. Okay.
I have hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 guitars that I can touch from where I'm sitting. They're all made of several different types of wood, so I got us.
We'll knock on them because.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Knocking around over here. All right, I got them. Some maple in there too.
To continued productivity. All right, so.
We'll jump to the first one. First
Ford Focus RS is
story.
dead.
Ford Focus RS, the new one that was supposed to come out, that I think people expected to have like 400 horsepower and shit like that too. Apparently it's dead. And that sucks. That sucks.
F's in the chat.
F's in chat for the Ford Focus.
Focus RS. I mean, it's pretty fucking cool car. I probably wouldn't buy one. I think it was funny to watch people crash them trying to drift them when they first came out.
I think I like them. So I just like cool hot hatches in general.
Oh, definitely.
It's an all-wheel drive turbo 4. It's an all-wheel drive turbo 4 manual maniac of a hatchback. You get to be Ken Block, you know, in a car you can buy at a dealership. And I like them. And, you know, I'm more of a Volkswagen guy, so I probably would buy a Golf R because I'm a loser. But you put a little bit of money into them, and they're pretty fucking fast, too.
Damn, dude, I just had a huge realization about Ford because they, you know, they're still working on killing off all their cars except the Mustang in America, right?
I think they've already done it. They have, like, a Focus Cross Tour or some, like, lifted Focus
it's a
thing.
Crossover.
Yeah.
So I remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago saying to one of my friends, yo, no car company is holding it down harder for car guys right now. They have STs of every model. They have the Focus RS. They have the Turbo EcoBoost Mustang. They got the fucking...
Well, it was Ford.
They had, you know, and they had all these crazy fucking cars, dude. They had the new GT40, and Ford was holding it down, and nobody bought anything. And so now Ford's not holding it down. Another manufacturer.
So the thing is, though, is what people are buying are like the Escape STs and stuff like that. So now they kind of wised up and they're like, what if we do all this shit to our crossovers that everyone wants to buy? Like, somebody has to want a fast crossover. And as the market is showing, people love crossovers in general. People want fast crossovers.
I don't want crossover talk anymore. No,
I know that it hurts everyone, but I do think it is important to talk about is that that's really what's happening. Yeah, they have an SD badge on every Ford, but none of them are like cars.
None of them are like a car you would take to an autocross.
No, but like I think it's because Ford is thinking about a different customer than you, and I think they always have been, and this is just sort of them fully accepting it. Like, Ford knows that a lot of people who buy their cars are people who are buying a Ford, and because it's a car.
True.
And they're but at the same time they're
Oh
known
yeah, no.
for being
I
good.
totally understand that. Like, I totally understand that. Like, no matter how many people are into cars, it's like a minuscule part of the market. But
Yeah.
it's just like, it always feels like when you see like Mazda coming out with a Miata or whatever, it feels like they're still holding it down, and you're like, oh man, someone's still out there like.
Yeah, but
holding
you
it
got to
down.
look at Miata sales. Like, they aren't good.
Oh no, they're not.
It's a
But they're
complete
still
passion
pumping out.
project.
It's a passion project, yeah. And that's kind of how it seemed like Ford was doing.
Ford has the
But then
Mustang.
it didn't.
They don't want to give us
They do
another.
have the Mustang,
They don't want to give us
but
another. They've realized that out of their portfolio, nobody really bought their passenger cars, even their super cool ones that they tried. People always have bought a Mustang. They always will buy the Mustang. So why don't they have that be their cool car that they focus on, and then focus on everything else that people do buy, and make models of that appeal to more buyers?
oh yeah, no, it
Like, they're
totally makes
trying
sense.
to
Like I said,
make,
I'm not faulting them for it.
and I think we're gonna see it over the years, and Porsche has done it too with the Macan, which a lot of people are raving about it. And it kind of started, I think, with the CX-5. I remember years back. I've admitted this before that I actually kind of like crossovers in a weird way, because because I'm just so used to the
Bro, say
2000s.
psych right now. Say psych right
I'll
now.
say psych. I'll say in relation to like the 2000s, in the late 2000s, when it was like moms and prom queens and like whatevers driving full-sized SUVs, getting 15 miles to the gallon maximum, driving one person. Like, that was like such a huge meme. But a crossover, if you're in that compared to like an SUV, I always looked at that as a net gain, because it's like, you're just a basic commuter anyway. So why are you in the gas guzzling gigantic thing?
Yeah, but what happened to like Honda Civics and like?
I agree with you on
The
that
Civics
aspect.
are out there. You know what I mean? And maybe that's the thing, dude. Maybe Ford needs to leave like the cool commuter cars to Honda and Mazda, because they seem to have it figured out pretty well.
But I bet you, I mean,
Like
I bet you
Mazda 2,
Honda's
I think,
best-selling
is
car
working
is the
pretty well.
CRV, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like, even for them, even for Honda, who still is and probably is doing one of the best in the small car game. I'd say probably, them and Toyota, who are always good at it. The Fit is probably still the most popular subcompact, and kind of has been in the US for ever. The Civic, still popular. The Accord, I know that the sales on this generation have been a little bit lower, but I mean, those are still everywhere too. And like, all three of those are perfectly great passenger vehicles. But out of that, they're still selling more CRVs, which, I don't know if you've driven a CRV. They're not that great.
Yo, you're breaking up hard.
Am I? I see my internet's getting a little weird.
Oh wait, I think you're back.
It's coming, but everyone like has probably been dealing with weird internet lately, because more people are home and certain things are getting throttled, and bandwidth and stuff like that. So apologies there, people. If Ford had made the Falcon in the USA as a sort of family-based Mustang, and even put the Bear option in the Mustang to go against the Charger and Challenger pair, stuff might have been okay. So to that, Kitty, I think it's almost guaranteed we get a 4-door Mustang sometime soon.
Yeah, I also think that if I don't think the Bear would have sold well as a new engine in America. Like, people only want them now because they never had them. Like, if they had been a new option, probably no one would have bought them. It would have been like the SVO Mustang.
Also, I don't think you realize that even to this day, Americans don't really like turbo engines. They're kind of over it now just because like the options have gotten in like basic commuter cars have basically been small turbo engines for a while now. But you know, like in like a family car, like a four-door car, I don't think they would really want like an inline six turbo.
Yeah, no, they
Then
like
again,
it
Ford
would be in the performance category of a
Ford kind of
V8,
changed
but
that with
people would want
EcoBoost. That you know that is a good
yeah,
point. I guess if they put that similar marketing on it, but at the same time, you know, they already had that three. If they put the
yeah,
V6 in the Mustang, the V6 EcoBoost, whew, that thing would be a
shoot,
rocket.
they would have to beef up the V8s to.
The V8 would have to make
They would
600
never do that
horsepower.
'cause it would kill the V8, dude.
The V8 would have to make 600 horsepower, like 650, like base model. You know, that the V6 twin turbo in a Mustang would be sick.
Yeah, that would be fucking gnarly. I
So
remember one time, I can't remember what magazine did it. I read like a magazine article where they got like a used mid 2000s V6 Mustang and like a slight, like a same era V8, and then they like spent the difference in cost on like putting a supercharger and a couple other things on the V6 Mustang, and it was faster.
yeah, I believe that. I mean, I think if you spent your money wisely, like you probably could have just like thrown like a shitty eBay turbo kit onto a V6 Mustang and go like, "Hey, it's faster." Like
Yeah, but it's
you don't have a
not gonna
warranty
be fun.
anymore and shit like that. So, yeah. No, I get that. But back to it. I do think there's going to be a four-door Mustang coming soon. It'll be, you know, one of those like coupé whatevers. I mean, we have the Mach-E's coming out, which is it is a four-door
Please.
Mustang.
Is it coming out or was it just a concept?
It's been delayed, I think, but it's real. It
Uh,
only got delayed because of the end of the world, not because it was a bad idea. They're gonna sell 1 million of
no, it is
those.
a dude. The Ford Mach-E caused coronavirus.
It might have, but regardless, I think that is partially them getting people comfortable to a four-door Mustang, and then they're gonna go like, "Hey, here it is," and you can get the the EcoBoost one and the cool V8 one. Have fun, and people would probably buy the shit out of it. You know,
I know that's the problem.
what if it had, and stick with me here, what if it had like RX-8 rear suicide doors, like half doors? And it was more
And
like a
a
2
more
plus 2.
Mustang styled.
More like a 2 plus 2,
I
you
mean,
know?
that would be cool. Yeah, the problem with the Mach-E is that it's like big and fat and a crossover.
Yeah, you'd have to,
It's like too much SUV. If it was more like a Porsche Panamera, I'd be into it.
and I think that's what the car version would be more like. Because that's obviously more like an SUV, even though it has a lower ground clearance than like a Camry or Corolla or something. They do call it an SUV too. I hate that. It ain't an SUV, man.
It's a crossover.
I'd be fine with them saying crossover. It's a wagon, but
No.
Eh,
No.
eh.
It's too tall to be a wagon.
so like then you're getting into semantics on the number of boxes and the height of the boxes and the pillar count, and it's like you just get to like crazy semantics, dude. Like
I just can't let wagons be reduced to this.
this is how it is, all right? If it ain't body on frame, it ain't an SUV.
No!
It ain't.
I mean, that's true.
Because the first SUVs were wagons on truck frames.
Crossover.
It's a crossover. But crossovers are just tall wagons.
Exactly. The Mach-E too tall to be a wagon, so it's a crossover. Thank you. For
Yeah,
agreeing.
but I just said that crossovers are just tall wagons. So it's a tall wagon. All right. Well,
at
we'll let
a
you simmer
certain
on
point,
that one.
it's all yeah, whatever, dude. Fuck you.
Ooh. All right, we're done with Ford. I'm done with Ford.
Yeah, no more.
We're
Ford
gonna
talk.
move on to our favorite American brand,
Whoa.
GM.
Okay, this is I haven't seen this headline because I've been staring at them for almost an hour now, but have not read any of them.
Yeah. So it
This
looks
is
like
unexpected.
the successor in some way to this. Actually, I think this might be a little bit smaller than what the CTSV was, but the successor is supposed to be coming out with a manual.
Fuck.
As it
That
says
looks
here,
pretty good.
isn't gonna have that expensive Blackwing Turbo V8 they developed. Fuck knows why, but yeah, they're gonna make a 4-door manual V8 supercharged rear-wheel drive car. And I mean,
Bro, that's so fucking cool.
it looks pretty good.
Dude, it looks really good, mate. Can you make that picture larger?
I can like zoom in. It's gonna look like shit. It's
Try
pretty
that.
good. It's a render.
Oh, well, fuck, dude. I mean, yeah, I guess it is a render, but dude, either way, bro, that looks pretty fucking sick. Honestly.
$85,000.
Bro, I'm getting some heavy Mazda vibes from that front end.
I think, and we're actually going to get to Mazda after this for a nice segue. I think it's more that Mazda has tried to go for that styling. And we'll touch on that on the next Mazda topic. Like over time,
Sorry I brought it up so soon.
well, Mazda went from like, basically copying like Ford, and they kind of had like that Ford Aston Martin-y look, but like they kind of like flipped the grills, like when Ford owned them or like owned a part of them. Like that was kind of their difference is they
Yeah.
took like the grill, and if it was frowning on the Ford, it was smiling on the Mazda and the other way around. That's probably not true. I recall that when I looked at them. It's probably only true on like one entire model.
Yeah, I don't know, but Mazda was doing that like real like angular kind.
But they were like that very Fordy look. And that was kind of when Ford was like copying Aston Martin a lot. And I think they've kind of morphed into that, and we'll just jump into it. I don't think there's really too much to say about this other than it's going to come out. But we'll jump into the next
Stay
topic,
tuned.
which is that
Mazda 6.
the Mazda 6 is supposed to get rear-wheel drive.
Is that
It's a render. I hope it's not the car.
That was like a camo test.
I hope it's not the car. But it's supposed to get rear-wheel drive and I would guess, I think, a turbo inline-six engine. Straight 6 Skyactiv engine.
I mean, I imagine it doesn't look anything like that picture at the top of the article because the Mazda 6 has historically been like a larger 4-door, right?
Yeah, it's been like a mid-size, like upper mid-size 4-door sedan.
Yeah, so I can't imagine them turning it into a 2-door sports car just so they put an inline-6 turbo in it. But if it looks like that, then that's going to be like maybe something in the Supra range.
So that is an idea, is that that's them having a chassis that they can then put like an RX-9 on, or probably not actually a rotary because rotaries are probably actually dead to get over it. So I don't know,
That's in the chat for the Winkle.
an MX-8, I don't know what they would call it. Like they,
I mean, the comeback of the MX-6.
I mean, it could just be like them saying like this is the new MX-6 and take that name, and then they
may just call it the RX-9 and say fuck you.
They also very well could be as boring as they've been in the past few years and do absolutely nothing.
They may just name it the Mazda
I think it's more likely they won't do it than any of that.
I think that's probably the smart bet. I don't know what the Vegas spreads are on it, but that's where my money's going.
So how do you feel about the Mazda 6 going from relatively affordable front-wheel drive mid-size sedan, the likes of a Camry and an Accord, to a rear-wheel drive one. Clearly there's an upmarket push, which Mazda's kind of been hinting at for a few years now and been pushing for in general.
Trying to get more on the level with BMW.
I'm thinking they're trying to become more like Acura, like that just be their baseline. I don't know quite about BMW.
Acura's been trying to get on BMW's level for a long time. Lexus actually might have gotten to BMW's level.
I think Lexus has always been in a different level because they still prioritize like comfort and reliability.
Lexuses were not on a BMW level.
No,
and
but
the thing is, dude.
You
Hold
can
on.
go.
So what is BMW? BMW is luxury and driving dynamics. Those are two things BMW is well known for. What are Mazdas actually really well known for? Driving dynamics. I think they're trying to make that upmarket push to get like on a BMW level of luxury. Because I remember seeing those ads too about like Mazda craftsmanship, handcrafting our stuff in factories. Or whatever,
Yeah, they love that shit.
Trying to push into the BMW territory.
I mean, no, it's up market. I just don't know if you would compare them to BMW, because I don't think that. What I was saying is, I don't think that Lexus really competes with BMW, because I think the average Lexus owner doesn't give a flying fuck about driving dynamics or horsepower or any of that.
Yeah, but that's why Lexus competes with BMW, is because they're actually priced pretty similarly.
So I think Mazda's more aiming for Lexus, but you never know, because they do always put an emphasis on driving dynamics. So maybe they are trying to be like, hey, look out BMW, hee hee, we're right here. But I feel like everyone just says BMW. Like when you have a rear wheel, you're fighting BMW if it has any amount of luxury.
Thing to consider, like how well are Kia Stinger sales going?
Probably not amazing. I mean, I think this is the case with most everything as they come out in recent times has been hype. Dealers mark them up. People don't buy them. They sit on the lot. Like it's been like that for the last like several cool car launches.
Yeah, but like that was like Kia's attempt to go for an upmarket push, but
they said that happened to Focus RSs.
Reputation than Kia.
That happened to Focus RSs. That happened to Civic Type Rs.
I think no matter what happens with this, it will probably be pretty cool. It will be overhyped. But I don't know if dealers will necessarily overbuy them, because if they play their cards right and still make it like...
So you have to imagine this is going to cost $40,000.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know. That's a tough position. We'll see. It's going to be cool either way. At the end of the day, it's going to be a cool-ass car. And maybe if I get extremely lucky and I'm in the position to buy one, and I'll buy one.
I see many more Focus RS and Civic Type Rs than I do Stingers. I'd say I see them about the same.
The Stinger was a flop. The Stinger was I've seen two maybe. The Stinger flopped hard, I believe.
I'm just trying to think like where I drive at work. Like there's like one I see kind of regularly, but like I also work down the street from like both a Porsche and a McLaren dealership. So like I'm focusing on like crazier shit constantly. So I don't know. Stingers didn't do too hot. They really didn't. But I mean, like if you gave me one for the right price, I'd drive one.
I mean, I don't really know anything about them. I've never met anybody who has one.
Dude, I gave you the keys to a Stinger. You're telling me that you would go like, I'm not gonna daily this.
Oh no, I would definitely drive it.
Dude, you'd love it. You'd love it.
Sat in one,
nah, you daily it for a week.
Bro. I don't fit in some cars. Oh, I daily it for a week.
And then you'd fall in love. It'd be a spaceship to you, and you'd be
True, dude.
stuck. All right, we'll
Then
move
I'd have
on.
to big body
I
swap it.
I think it's cool in general that we're gonna get another rear-wheel drive platform, especially for a four-door car. Um, I would think a manual is very unlikely at this point.
I'm gonna drift one, dude. I'm gonna get a dog box and drift it.
Oh, I hope people drift these. I hope to hell people drift these.
Like that
I
shit on it. If it looks like that, dude, I'm gonna drift it. That thing's a fucking spaceship, dude.
I
I'm gonna
hope
drift the
I
spaceship.
hope there's a manual swap kit within like 6 months. And it's like readily available and easy to do. And people are just popping in manuals and fucking drifting these puppies everywhere. I want to see that shit. That'd be sick, right?
I highly doubt that'll happen.
It won't
Is there even a
happen.
Is there a manual swap kit for the new Supra that doesn't involve putting a 2JZ in it?
I don't think. I think you can get a Z4 manual and put that in.
I thought they didn't make a Z4 manual.
I could be okay. Then maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think
I
there's
know- I know
there's some
there's
people who
2J
do it.
Swaps, but
Some people do it, but it always depends on what the transmission is and who makes it and what fucking
yeah, so
bell
that, I mean,
how.
because that's what I'm saying. Like if
Always
there's not,
depends.
if there's not like a CD 009 swap kit for the Supra already, then there definitely won't be one for the Mazda 6.
There are rumors that Kia might be making a Ute or a truck at some point in the future. I haven't heard of that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Kia or Hyundai pickup truck. I think Nissan has kind of dropped the ball in the truck market, and I could definitely see them trying to take a jump at that. For sure.
Titans are kind of garbage, dude.
They're both, and the Frontier. Do they sell both of them? They both suck. Doesn't matter. They're both terrible.
I think they might have killed both of them.
They should have. They were also ancient, but like,
Well, everything Nissan sells is ancient.
well, speaking of Nissan and ancient,
Yeah, dude, how's that fucking segue?
that's a
for
good
you?
one. Those rumors have been around for years. Nothing really comes out of it. Yeah, I've also heard rumors that Volkswagen might be coming out with a truck that'll probably just be a Ford because they've been partnering in weird ways. So like, there any number of brands could be coming out with a truck in the next few years that seems really bizarre. So be prepared for that. I think at least one brand will. I don't know who.
Okay.
VW
looking
doesn't
at
do
this
trucks
render-
here. I know they have the Amarok. I know what the Amarok is. I said that before that popped up on my screen. You guys can't prove I didn't lie. All right, anyway, moving on. Colin, you want to talk? And have you read about this at all?
I have seen some renders, but here's the problem with renders, dude, is where are they coming from? You know? Mad motherfuckers make renders all the time and try and sell it off as like the new, like my vision for the thing, and then pages reposted it as like vision for the new Nissan 400Z or whatever. So like what is the, I haven't done any digging. What's the dealio, dude? Because I'm a Nissan butthurt. I love Nissan. That I hope it doesn't look like that at the bottom.
So they revealed, I think this was it. They revealed the new logo. So they have a new Z logo. That's this. It's supposed to be called the 400Z. I guess we don't really know the engine. It's probably some kind of turbo V6, and it's going to make around 400 horsepower.
I mean, that sounds pretty dope.
It sounds pretty dope. The other thing I know, and I think that's what I've heard for a while, is that it's going to be kind of like a throwback styling like the 240Z. And that's what these renders are going for.
I've seen those rumors as well.
Well, that's kind of what these renders are going for. Like, you squint your eyes, like, that's just like a pointy
yeah,
240Z.
so the one at the top from the side actually looks pretty fucking good. The
Dude,
front
do you
also
like
doesn't
that
look-
with the side mirrors? The,
Bro,
like, side cameras that look like the fender mirrors? That's kind of cool.
I kind of do like it, dude. Like, I mean, that doesn't look like a bad, like,
Kinda looks like a
future
little
retro
Batwing.
take, dude. Like, that thing's kind of dope.
Right?
Like, if Nissan made that, I would be pretty hyped. But here's my take. Nissan's gonna run out of money, dude. There's no way they can afford to develop a new fucking race car right now. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
Like, they can't sell it.
I kind of agree. I think Nissan's going to be in a lot of trouble after all this is said and done.
Like, I love Nissan, and I'm sad to say, but like, there's no way they're gonna be able to fund this without like shitting the bed. They're gonna shit the bed whether they try and fund this or not, quite possibly.
Well, they're just going to end up getting like bought by like Toyota or something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
in
surprised.
Which case, that would actually be sick because maybe they could build out on like the BRZ platform or this fucking Supra platform or something, but with like their own engine in it. That would actually be really cool.
Well, I don't know though.
Like,
Would you think that they would let them do that? Like say here's the BRZ platform. Put a bigger engine with more power in it. Sell it as your thing, but it has to still be below the Supra, which is big,
Yeah,
slightly
that's true.
bigger, and also has a turbo V6. That's also
yeah, well,
making
they're
400 something
actually,
horsepower.
They're trying to give that 400 horsepower, so that's going to be punching above the Supra.
The Supra's above 400, but it's like 450 something, max. I think it's supposed to get more horsepower next year. Actually, they're like bumping it up a little bit more too.
Okay. I didn't remember the Supra numbers, honestly.
It's over 400 though.
Okay.
It's
So
BMW numbers. It's very conservative.
It's hitting right in the Supra range.
This would be
400Z is.
this would be it'd be close to a Supra, and so you'd have to imagine that it'd be expensive.
Yeah.
Or why would Toyota let that happen?
So actually, I actually have a different theory. I think if Nissan survives, they build this, but they end the GTR.
It's possible. I mean, I don't think the GTR really, at this point, they probably make money on every single GTR they sell, but they just don't sell a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, they do sell them for quite a bit of money.
They're like 130 grand.
Yeah.
But they probably don't sell a
and
lot
that's
of
the
them.
thing, though, I don't know, because I think this would.
If they could sell a lot of these, it might be worth their time. That's a good point.
Yeah, but I think this might be like performance-wise hitting a little. Well, how much? Nah, GTRs have like 500 horsepower, huh?
I think they're almost like 600 now or over.
Yeah, so maybe this wouldn't be biting into GTR territory too much. That's the thing, dude. A new GTR is a completely different car from an old GTR. They've been developing the shit out of that platform.
Yeah, but it's. I think it's interesting. I mean, if we see it and it comes out and it makes 400 horsepower. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know like where you're gonna put that if you're basing that off some other chassis. Like if it's them doing their own thing, like they can do whatever they want and be Nissan and sell nothing like they have been. But if you're saying like they're circling the drain financially in more ways than one, then this happened. They probably have to partner with somebody.
Car won't be able to save the company.
No, it won't. But their all-wheel drive Altimas are like apparently doing pretty good.
Huh? I didn't know that.
Well, I think every
I
company.
don't think anybody's doing great right now.
No one in the car world is doing great now. I'm really talking like right before it ended. But what we're kind of seeing is more companies are offering like all-wheel drive options on like their regular cars or whatever. And then they're just like, oh, huh, people are buying these. People like all-wheel drive.
Yeah, I definitely.
Like Subaru's just like been sitting in the corner like for like 20 years or something. Like, no, more. It was like 89, right? That was when the Legacy came out, which was like
Something like
I think it was like 89. Since 89, they've had cars with standard all-wheel drive or something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. So, but it's been like 30, almost 40 years. And they've just been like sitting there like, people do like all-wheel drive cars. And,
Yeah, dude.
like I think Toyota has they have an all-wheel drive Camry coming out. They're probably gonna sell a fucking bazillion of those. You know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like some people like to drive to the mountains in the winter or live in Minnesota or just like they don't want a crossover because they're sensible human beings, but they want all-wheel drive,
I think
Like
there's a lot of people that they just look at it and go like, oh, that's not too much more of an investment, and I like that peace of mind. I think that's the biggest thing about cars is people always like peace of mind. Like you always get a car that's like a little bit bigger than you think that you need. Because you want to know like, well, what if I do have a little more than I usually do? And so you get a car that's a little bit more powerful than you think you need because it's like, well, what if I do need a little bit more power? So I think you get to that, that category. What's up, Boris? Just bought an RX-7 not too long ago. Is it in FC, FD, FB? Are you an old school fool? I like them all, so I don't really care which one it is. But
I like the SA personally. You know what I like? I like RX-3s, dude. Those cars are sick.
Those are cool. I like most of the RX cars. I mean, I guess I think the RX-4 is kind of ugly.
Yeah, I'm pretty into all of them.
88. So it's an FC.
Boy.
Sweet. Dude, I remember, and I've talked about this so many times on the podcast. I was totally eyeing a 88 Turbo 2. It was like, oh, I totally was lusting over one. Wanted one so bad. Never got one. And they were cheap then, too. Now they're getting expensive. LS swap it? No. RX-8? No. You're better. You're right. Is it just...
RX-8 is pretty good. RX-8's pretty good.
Yeah, totally.
I honestly might get an RX-8 over an FC at this point in my life.
Over an FC? So if you got a non-turbo FC, that engine's more reliable than an RX-8. It will be. It will be.
Yeah, maybe. RX-8s are really fucking fast, though.
Yeah, they can be made fast. People sleep on them. People sleep on them for sure. I agree.
They were they're kind of obsolete now, but they were pretty good autocross cars there for a hot second.
They're slept on.
Heavy, but they handle pretty well. They handle well. They'd be a good track toy, honestly.
Yeah, no, totally. They're definitely slept on, but I don't know. I think they're ugly as shit, and I'd personally rather have an FC.
An RX-8's way fucking faster than an FC.
An RX-8's also way bigger than an FC.
Yeah, but it's way fucking faster.
I actually did it one time. I compared them all by wheelbase, and I think the FD is the second shortest out of all of them. You wouldn't even think that.
Yeah, FDs have a really short wheelbase.
It's sort of like how the first Porsche 911, it has a shorter wheelbase than the Beetle that it's based on. And that's yeah, it's there's so many cars that have these really tiny wheelbases, and it's you don't think of it. Like everyone, when they think of handling, for some reason they always kind of equate it to a longer wheelbase, but
well, they do different things.
Yeah, it does different things if you balance it differently.
If you have a short car with a long wheelbase, it's actually really good. That's what MR2 Spider and a Lotus Elise are. Is they're very short overall, but the wheels are all the way out of the corners.
Yeah. The 2-stroke thing, yeah, a 12A rotary, those are kind of reliable. But you got to treat them like 2 strokes and rev the shit out of them. Hope they have a good transmission. Yeah. I see Bill in Discord. He's not in YouTube chat. No one can see it. All right, guys. The last topic that I had was a little bit of a downer. And it was that
Why did you make this the last topic?
because I figured we would warm it up with something else. We got some good conversation here, so we'll hit this and then we can end this on our terms. We don't have to be sad boys. Okay. But the racing legend Sir Sterling Moss did pass away the other day. I think this was late last week that it happened. And to people who don't know who he is, if you're American, he's probably like the Dan Marino of Formula One. Would that be accurate? One of the greatest drivers and never won.
Oh, Dan Marino did never win. Yeah, that is actually probably a pretty fair description. I don't know football is that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sterling Moss, great driver, not just in Formula One.
Yeah, he did the Mille Miglia. That was one where I believe he like demolished what's his fucking name?
I don't know.
The other Formula One guy, fucking Fangio, where he like demolished Fangio in it.
Moss raced at Le Mans too, right?
Jeez. Let's go check it out. Let's check up his wiki.
Let's check out his
racing career.
Overall stats. You know, let's have a Sterling Moss.
All right. Sterling Crawford Moss, born 17th of September 1929 in West Kensington, London, England. And he died the 12th of April. He had in Formula One, he had 67 entries, no championships, 16 wins, 24 podiums, and 185 and 9/14 points. I don't.
He had how many starts with
Not
24 podiums and 6 wins?
What was that you said, bud?
He had 60 starts with like 30 times on the podium.
Oh, it was 60
wins and podiums.
He had 67 entries with 24 podiums in Formula One. That's like really fucking good.
That's pretty fucking good, dude. A 30% podium.
That's really good.
Insane,
it's super good. Let's go check out his racing record though. So, cause he raced in a bunch of shit, and as you'll see here, it's just like a lot of winning, a lot of doing really well, This is by year too, guys.
Fantastic.
These are all things that he entered in by year.
Those are absolutely unreadable on the stream.
Are these? All right, hold on. I'll zoom in. Is this better?
No, now they're just pixelated. Give us some highlights. Give us a couple series.
All right, we got British Formula 3, Grand Prix de Europe 500cc. I'll read some of the ones that have like Wikipedia links. British Empire Trophy, RAC Tourist Trophy, Grand Prix du Lac. That's actually a race that the Thompson Lemons race is named in a joke to. It's GP. It's the Grand Prix du Lac Chargag, etc. Groot Prix van Nederland. I probably butchered that.
I believe that's a Formula One race.
Yeah, he did do 24 hours of Le Mans. I see a second place finish in 53. I'm gonna assume he did it more than that. Formula One, Mille Miglia, Targa Florio. If you guys don't know Targa Florio, that's a really good one to look up.
Just a fantastic racer.
I mean, if you guys
first, second, third. Like,
this is every
all
year.
All he does is win.
These are, I mean, they're only really racing the accomplishments. But
oh yeah, I mean that makes sense. But still, I mean,
like just randomly, like
races this dude won every year.
Like randomly, I'm just gonna do the 4 hours of Sebring and get second and third in the World Championships in Formula One.
Like, this man was truly just would race anything and win.
Yeah, dude did really, really good. Had the misfortune of he never managed to win a Formula One championship, but he did a bunch more, obviously. Lived to be 90. Props to that.
Which is insane.
Props to that. And what do they say? Race in peace, boys. So F's in chat for Sterling Moss. an absolute legend. Kind of like Ken Miles. I mean, Ken Miles died a lot younger, but maybe kind of like Ken Miles. I think that's reasonable. But Sterling Moss had a lot of success in a lot of other series, so F's for him. An absolute legend. At 90, still gone too soon. So, we're at an hour and 20 minutes so far right now. So, if anyone had some last minute topics, we could go fucking.
Questions to fire
We could
off.
fucking blaze them, you know?
Off some fucking questions.
First question. Yes, I do want to buy a Thrustmaster sim setup now. So bad.
The question I have is, do you want to buy a CA18 ET? Because I need that shit out of my garage.
You want your CA gone?
Yes, that's correct.
Netgear went to go buy a pack of smokes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Man,
buy.
we really do get asked that every time.
Nah, not every time. Like every 3 times, I'd say.
Okay.
It's all good.
Well, that's
It's
not
all
really
good, guys. We're here to
It's all
chill.
good. We miss you, Netgear.
Doug DeMuro or Hoovies? Ooh.
I don't know if I've ever watched a video from either of them, to be honest.
All right, I don't like subscribe to either of them, but you know, I dabble, a little dabble, do ya?
Little dip your toe in.
I think I want to say Hoovies. I think that I like his personality better, and I feel like I would get along with him more than Doug DeMuro. But I also think Doug's a fine guy, and from what I can tell, he's a super nice person. I just feel like I would get along with Hoovies better. That's literally my only reason I'm picking Hoovies. I don't really know him too well. They seem like nice guys though.
I've seen both of them on Car Stories. Oh wait, is Doug DeMuro the
Quirks and features guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of his videos. I was never blown away by him.
So he's most notable for he reviews like, you know, well, he gets like a lot of these like really cool like supercars and shit and goes over all like the weird fucking things that they have, cuz like they always have weird fucking things to them. But then it's interesting when he, you know, you've offset that with like regular cars that have weird quirks and features, and that's kind of his thing and his how he reviews stuff. But he's super popular with that. He's relatively active on Reddit in the cars page, so that's another reason that he's pretty well revered on the internet. Hoovies, did he work for Doug or something like that? He worked for somebody and then kind of like broke off to his own thing. He made RX-7 go up in prices. I mean, I think everything's gone up in prices. I don't think you can blame one person.
Yeah, nothing's cheap anymore, dude. Nothing's cheap.
Doug? Nah. RX-7s have gone up just as much as like AW11s and like anything.
Well, FDs have gone up.
FDs have gone up more.
FDs never really got below $10,000
Yeah.
for that long, honestly, if they were ever.
I'm really talking like FCs, I guess. FCs have gone up pretty much the same as anything.
FCs have gone up not quite as much as 240s.
240, yeah, I'd say 240s are definitely have been worse on prices going up.
240s, S30 chassis Zs, and A86s.
Old school Benz have gone. Have they gone up?
I mean,
don't
I'm
know.
just saying those are like the Japanese cars that I think had like the most dramatic change.
From like the 80s and 90s, yeah. Oh, Benz's W210s. Yeah, that's the 300D one. Those,
yeah,
I
those
mean,
used to be so cheap.
but those are also like from the 80s, right? Like you have to also remember that everything that was so cheap and talked about on the internet was so cheap and talked about the internet 15 years ago.
So now everyone knows about it, yeah.
So, all the stories about, 300Ds, 240Ds, whatever, like those are 15 years old. Okay, the W210 is 98 to 2001. Are those probably going up because everything below it that's cooler is also going up? Like that's also what you get is like you get people who are kind of like settling for like the newer, cheaper version if it's like too old and too valuable. Uh, yeah, you kind of get weird creeps in the market in other ways, but like everything's gone up in every single market. And I don't know. I think a big part of that is like you have the baby boomer market who is mostly in love with cars from the 60s to the 80s and 60s to the early 80s, and then you have like the millennial market and they're in love with cars from like the late 80s to like the 2000s. So it's like you have two generations of car guys that are like absolutely loving like basically every decade of car. So
Yeah.
that's what we're having right now. Nothing's ever going to be cheap.
It was.
I don't think anything's going to be cheap in the same way it was before the internet existed. I think that like,
Never again.
the market
Thanks, Bill Clinton.
I think the market will like relatively level out in certain ways. Yeah, there's always going to be certain things that are still cheap.
Everything's gonna be really cheap, and we're still locked in 3 months, and no one can pay rent.
3000 GTs. I mean, those are cheap because they're unreliable, and you like. I don't think you can get parts very easily for them
If
either.
you buy a 3000 GT, you actually should seek mental help.
I mean, I like them, but I would not want to work on one and deal with one.
I knew a guy who was an electrical engineer, and this dude might be the smartest dude I've ever met in my fucking life. And he sold his 3000 GT because he couldn't make all the electronics work.
I'd rather have a Z32.
Oh, hands down.
I like
don't wanna
3000
say that
GTs.
bad.
They're cool cars, They're pretty fucking performancy when they're working.
I don't think they look that good.
They also
I
weigh
think-
like 12,000 pounds more than an FD.
Yeah, they literally weigh 4,000 pounds.
They weigh so much. Electrical engineer
fast,
does not
though.
equal electrician. Just saying. Fair point.
Yeah, but
Electrical
like,
engineers know how to read diagrams pretty well.
Yeah, electrical engineers know how to make the circuits inside your ECU work, and electrical engineers know how to make that
Pain in
digital
the ass
dash
to
that
work on,
brings
you're
that
right. But
work.
well maintained, they run good. I mean, someone says that about every car. Yeah, you maintain them, they run great.
Yeah,
I
when
just think for
you
like the average
replace
Joe,
everything before it breaks, then it runs good. But
if you replace everything before it breaks and you become an expert at that engine because of how much time and effort you've spent on them, yeah, you can get anything to work. If you're like really like the Angel brothers, like they're really good at rotaries, like I bet you their reliability record on rotaries is way better than the average person. And that's just because of how they treat them and what they know what to do and how to repair them and how to preemptively repair them and stuff like that. And that's just from years and years and years of experience. I think pretty much any platform, yeah, you can get to that point where, relatively speaking, it's cheap for you. But the time and the money you spent to get to that point is usually pretty high. And I don't think a lot of people want to just hop in and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get a car project. I'm going to get a 3000 GT. You should probably
Yeah,
really like 3000 GTs.
because none of them have been, any of them that are cheap have not been maintained that well. So if you want to buy a $25,000 3000 GT, then yeah, you can maintain it for relatively cheap. But if you want to buy, a $4,000 3000 GT, which I don't even know if that exists, I'm throwing out two random numbers that seem to be reflected in like really nice examples of like Z32s and stuff. But anyway, point is, if you want to buy like a cheap 3000 GT, then it's going to be beat on, it's going to be thrashed, and you're going to have to fucking spend so much time and money and all these headaches fixing it, getting it to where it's cheap and reliable to maintain.
So I guess I guess a reasonable question would be, is how many people who are buying those cars are looking to buy a project, and how many people are looking to buy a running example they can just drive? I feel
don't
like
think
more
anyone's
people are.
really looking to buy a 3000 GT right now.
I don't think anyone
Well,
right
no,
now.
I mean,
but,
like at all, ever.
but like I think in the enthusiast world in general, we're all kind of cheap because we have an addiction and need to fill it with more cars. So
True.
usually the project route is the cheaper route to have a car in a certain form, and we are also
True.
sick in the head and need to have cars in forms that don't exist. So,
True.
you know, those are a lot different. That's why, like, usually my goal and my rule of thumb is like, if it's fucked, make it stock. Because if somebody touched it, it's probably shit. And if you make it stock, it's probably going to work. And it's usually true. It's usually true. But that's my opinion. I'd rather have a Z32 because I could take that engine out and not feel bad and put anything in it. The 3000 the
RB20.
The 3000 GT, I would almost feel like, just because of what that car is, I would have to keep that engine, because otherwise it's not.
Dude.
That's not the car, you know.
Dude, 4G63 swap 3000 GT.
4G, no, fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, dude, that would actually be dope.
Yeah, of course it would be dope, but I mean, there's a lot of like other dumb things like that would be dope, like K24 with a turbo.
Yeah, but then it gets harder. Like I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I just want
Yeah,
I just want an SR20 and a Z32. 2+2.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
3000 GT.
3000 GT.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Well, you said that you wouldn't swap the engine.
I wouldn't.
And I'm saying
I
I
wouldn't.
would to a 4G63. If I had to have a 3000 GT, I want mine with a 4G63 in it.
I have to have one. I mean, if
Yeah.
I have to have one, I'm just gonna put something like stupid in it. Like I'm gonna put like an Iron Duke in it.
That's dumb, dude. Well, why would you do that? Like, if you had like a built 4G, it would like be fucking fast.
It would be, but like I don't even like care about them. SR20 and a 300ZX. Yeah, Jimmy has one that's shit that he's ruining and doesn't deserve and should just give to me. But no, I don't deserve it either. An SR20 300ZX would be sick. You make like 350, 400 horsepower, 2+2, just cruise. Just be a fucking baller. They look sick.
Cruise.
They look sick. I don't even care about like performance. Like who fucking gives a shit? He has two.
Yeah, it just.
He has both. He also has an LS one, and neither of them make good power, and he drives neither of them. That's the biggest problem.
Pretty good power.
No, the SR20, there's something like fucked with it. Like the engine's fucked. And the LS.
Oh, dude, it just makes 260 at the wheels on a Mustang with a GT28. Like that makes a lot of fucking sense. I don't know what this dude's thinking. Like,
he can't focus on a project.
Like he's got a.
So he has the S13 drift car.
Basically, hold on. But I'm trying. Like his SRZ is like a stock SR with like a GT28 71 on it, right?
Yes, the engine's like fucked. Something's fucked on the engine.
But didn't it make like 260 wheel?
Yeah, but like that setup, he should have been making like 350 or something. Like he.
With a fucking 2871, he's
No, I
making
think it has like a built head or something too. Like it, whatever it was, like the specs for that were into it should have made way more horsepower than it made. I don't remember it exactly. I'm sure somebody smarter and more caring than I knows. But from what I know, neither of those cars really make what their full potential is with those engines. full potential, I guess, is whatever the fuck you want to decide full potential is on power levels, but they're both. I would think almost everyone would think they were low for the setups that they have, and they weren't quite finished, and that's because he just jumps from project to project, really. But I'm not gonna shit on him here. That's not what this is.
No.
I've been watching Motion
But-
Auto TV. I have not. I haven't really been exploring too much else in the car world. I haven't really been doing too much. I've been actually watching a lot of
I'm in the
iRacing.
garage, dude.
I've been watching a lot of
I'm in the
iRacing.
garage working,
Yeah, that too.
building, and actually, I've been watching a little bit of old Formula One and like some early 2000s, late 90s drifting videos.
Dude, you should have watched IndyCar at Suzuka. It was fucking weird.
That does sound weird.
It's cool that they can do stuff like that. Like just go to, like they did fucking Spa. They did like the old Monza Oval, which was just like,
That's pretty.
dude, the old Monza Oval. It was just people wiping out coming out of the pit lane the whole time, constantly, every single lap, every single fucking lap. It was sick. So. If you guys, have been stuck inside bored, I suggest checking out some sim racing that you'll see. A lot of drivers are streaming, like professional drivers. I've been watching Joseph Newgarden a decent amount recently, and he's been streaming a handful of times a week, sometimes multiple races, and it's been with other professional drivers and higher end sim racers. So the racing's been pretty good, and it's it's a good little escape if you're bored. I'm sure you guys have all run out of shit to do, so
go put a truck motor in your sports car.
go big block tiny wheel, get at it, boys. So
Big block.
I think we're done here then, and
I think that's a good note to end on.
I would love to thank everyone for coming out here. Carbon cleaner my EA888. I should do that to my EA888 as I am about to get to 75,000 miles.
Too many eights for an engine name.
I know it. I like a good alphanumeric engine name, but it has to be like a good one. Like 2JZ rolls off the tongue really good. RB26, that works. EA888, no, doesn't work. And I'm a Volkswagen fan.
It's all vowels too, dude. That's the problem with KA24, dude. Is like the A kind of blends onto the end of K.
Maybe that's why SR20 is loved so much. It's the best to say. Because you have CA and KA.
18 is pretty hard. Because CA is hard because you have to say 18 after it.
You could say CA18, but no one does.
Maybe Australia.
All right, whatever. We're just rambling here.
Nissan forever. Smash that like button. Subscribe for more.
Lando Norris rolled a semi in Euro Truck Simulator. That's fucking sick. All right, boys. Everyone, thank you for watching. I hope we could help distract you for a little bit, and hope you had fun.
If you like this podcast, show it to a friend.
Check out our I didn't put the Instagram thing. I need to like redo all of this shit and make it better. But check out we have an Instagram which we will post like reminders before we stream. So if you want to check that out, do that. And stay safe. Have fun, keep your boredom at bay, and I don't know, maybe you'll see me on a sim rig sometime soon, and that'd be kind of cool. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. Colin, thank you. Had a blast.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone,
Adios.
have a good one. We love you. Bye-bye.